Hello, guys. Welcome to the BeerShack
The BeerShack. This is Jean.
and the Mushroom Tea Shack because for
I
some weird
think
reason, mushroom
introduce
tea is a
yourself so
thing.
people know, because
Oh,
they
this
if
is Ramsey.
so when people comment, they know who's who. They're not in voice number one, voice number two.
Well, they're never gonna know if they come to our DMs because they don't know who's responding at any given time. But like when they're listening to us, they will know who's Ramsey and who's Jean.
But it's like this thing of being more down to earth, so people can like personify.
Uh
You're
huh.
not just a talking voice.
Yeah,
There's two
exactly.
people behind the whatever.
Yeah.
But
So
anyways,
this is Ramsey. This is Jean. Those are our real names. By the way,
yeah,
we tried this thing for the longest time. We
we
were trying
tried
to
the
hide.
thing where we
We're not
did.
even trying anymore. We just don't want to show our faces. We don't want to. We don't care
But some of
if
you might
you.
get to see our faces because we'll do a meet and greet soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Come to the
Like,
drink shack,
yeah.
think shack, rape shack, all other
Red
shacks.
Shack is so touchy, but like it's just because we
Of
make a
course,
lot
it's
of rape
touchy.
jokes. It's not because we like promote that in any way, shape, or form. But today it is the mushroom tea and beer shack.
Yeah, we're having some magic mushroom tea, and it kicks in really fast. Actually, we should
Yeah,
probably do an episode on magic mushrooms the way we did for the LSD trip,
like an after movie.
like an after movie for magic
I don't know
mushrooms.
if we'll do it tonight. Maybe we can take
Not
like
tonight.
some
Oh, we could probably try.
voice recordings.
The thing
Although
is, apparently, it's supposed to last between 1 to 4 hours, but LSD was supposed to last between like 6 to 8 hours, but it lasted like
24 hours.
for me actually went on 40 hours. I tried to see how long it would last.
It's just as long as you don't sleep.
Yeah.
It's still in your system weirdly.
We hope you guys are liking the uploads. We got a lot of love on our last AMA, and we want to make it more interactive. So we've been thinking on Fridays we'll do something.
We want to call it Givenchy Fridays just because there's always a weird we were having this discussion with Jean. I don't know if we had it on the podcast or outside of the
We did
podcast.
actually on
Sometimes
the
I feel
early
like the
episode.
lines are so blurred. But like you have like the most random people you know doing like just like gathering at places like Givenchy or like archives to talk about like
I think they
the
call those kamukunjis.
exactly like the prevailing political issue of the day, and it doesn't even have to be a political issue, but just like having these discussions where we listen to our fans input on different things that we are planning to talk about on the next episode.
But my question is, who organizes those meetings?
I don't know. I think they probably start organically at first and then they become a thing.
But they're
There's like
timed, aren't they? Like they're at a certain time of the day.
yeah, so like you've got like a bunch of people probably sitting in Givenchy at a certain like early morning, and then maybe two people are talking about like the headline on the news. You know, like I always see someone or a few people with newspapers.
Yeah.
You know, and then when they start talking, of course you're gonna attract a crowd because you know there's a lot of people there with nothing to do, and they want to chime in on whatever topic
So Jivanji Fridays
you're
will
covering.
be kind of like where we get to discuss with you guys live in the on IG.
Yeah.
I feel like IG has been very interactive with us and we've enjoyed it so far.
Yeah, we could do it through stories. So, you know, like people can come like in the DMs and tell us their opinions. We're just gonna like have a topic of the day. People can respond directly to the topic, you know, like the way they did to our AMA. Or if they have like a longer thing to say, they can come to our DMs and then we'll do the whole hide my ID thing,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. You can tell us all your secrets.
I was actually thinking maybe we could do it tomorrow on Saturday. I mean, by the time this recording goes out as an episode, it's gonna be
Probably
long
next
gone. But
Saturday.
like, yeah. So yeah. So but I'm hoping we can do it tomorrow on Saturday for the first Givenchy, and then from then on we'll do it on
Here's a
Fridays.
silly idea, but this came to me. Maybe one day because it's kind of like our episodes show up a week after because the editor has to do everything, do his thing and whatever. We could try and predict a future event on one of these episodes where we say like this is gonna happen this coming week, and then if we're correct, the audience gives us money.
Oh wait, what? What? Could you repeat that?
So
I
I'm
was
saying-
looking at our stories. By the way, again, by the time this comes out, it'll be long in the past. But for the first time, we're actually sharing shit on our stories about like this is what we're
You
drinking,
get some
this is what
insights
we're
into
trying.
what skin
Yeah,
color we are because Ramsey posted a picture with his hand.
it's super dark.
He should have put it on his foot just for the meme potential.
In case anyone has a foot fetish out there.
Yeah, we like to cater to all the freaks out there.
Yeah.
Speaking of catering to you guys, we're not always gonna review liquors. Today we're actually doing something different. We're doing beers.
No, wait. What's that thing about predicting? Could you repeat that?
Oh yeah, I was saying like because our episodes come out a week after we put them out, we could actually try and predict something that's gonna happen in this coming week, and then see when it's uploaded If it's correct, the viewers can comment in the comment section. So you
Like,
guys
oh my
were correct.
god, you guys totally spoke about. Yeah,
That's meta.
that would be
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, that's definitely meta.
What do I
So
think will happen this week? Well, I mean, what has been happening
yeah,
in current affairs? I've not really been paying attention to the news, but I know Raila has been making moves. Apparently, the price of unga is down again.
it is, but this is probably artificial. It's not
I
market
know.
forces doing that.
If it's going down, something else is going up.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably Raila's dick. But
What?
I mean, he's in government now. He's got what he's.
So moving on to the beer shack. The first one we're trying is Desperados. It is actually we thought it was a cider when we were buying it, and I'll talk about ciders in a moment.
But
But
it's
what is
tequila.
actually it's tequila beer because it is made just like regular beer with malted barley. It also has hops, weirdly, and it also has hop extract actually, and it also has tequila in it, right?
Isn't that the guy from the Fast and Furious movie? No, that's Hobbs. Unless it was Callan Like,
No, that's
Hobbs
yeah.
and Shaw.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson. He was
Hobbs and
Hobbs,
Shaw.
or was he Shaw?
Yeah, but
Which one was Jason
don't open
Statham
it far
and
away.
which
Give
one
give
was-
the people some ASMR.
Yeah.
Open with this. Like you can hear the popping or whatever.
Okay.
Shit. I have to
Here's
put
some
it
ASMR
on.
for
For you
everyone.
freaks. I mean, if you have a foot fetish.
Let me get the laptop out of the way.
Yeah,
because
actually, it's supposed to be this way.
the laptop doesn't give a
Fuck,
shit about the ASMR.
I think I could use a bottle of whatever. It's much easier this way. Well, it sounds less exciting. Ah, fuck. It's like piss. R. Kelly.
Oh shit!
no,
that was a whole projectile almost hit me in the eye. But
that's
yeah,
what she
so
said.
we are opening. That's what she said. We should do more. That's what she said jokes.
That's what.
I don't know if you watched The Office. Have you watched The Office? It's like a cult classic.
I've
right?
seen memes from it. There's
Like
this
that's
popular
what
gif.
she said. That's what he said. Jokes came from like
Came from The Office, yeah.
a lot of them.
I like. I mean, the thing with beer that's quite interesting is they always froth so much.
Yeah.
Why is that? I think we're going to talk about that in the descriptions because we've
So,
got a lot
I
of
mean,
history.
I don't know why, but I know a little trick. If you don't want if you don't want the foam, when you're pouring it, aim for the far end. Yeah, the vertical surface. It won't foam as much, right? So that's just like a little trick. Anytime you're pouring, even soda, and you don't want it to do the whole foamy thing.
Now, the reason we're doing beer today is for the simple fact that beer is actually the third most drank drink in the world. Now, go in the comment section.
What's
Before
the
I
first
reveal,
and second?
I'm going to reveal that, but before I do, I'm going to give you like 2 seconds. You can pause this and then try and guess what the first two are. But the first and two...
I mean, the
and
first
second-
has to be water.
Yeah, water. And the second one is obviously tea.
Oh, I was gonna say soda, but okay.
Soda. Soda will probably be third. I'm not so sure. Coca-Cola.
And probably tea is just popular because England drinks so much tea in Commonwealth nations.
I heard Coca-Cola has a secret formation. I mean, for formulation, a secret formula
that involves
cocaine. Yeah,
or it
Coca.
did at the first time in the first place, like when Coca-Cola came out, like in
Might
the
just be
1800s.
folklore as well. Like,
No, it's not. Actually, the name Coke, like from Coke, was from cocaine. Because cocaine was pretty legal back then.
Was it?
Cocaine wasn't always illegal. It was legal back when Coca-Cola was like founded, when the
I
company
guess
was
as
founded.
long as you're not snorting it, you can drink it.
Yeah, so they used to put cocaine in Coca-Cola, and that was part of what made it so addictive, you know? But of course now they don't anymore, but the name has like it has endured.
The more you know,
The more you fuck around,
the more you find out.
the more you find out.
The founder of Coca-Cola should call
So-
himself a Coca-Cobra.
So
Snake that bitch.
what is the taste? What would you say about the taste
Let's
of
start with the
Desperados?
aroma. Let's start with the aroma. Smells like someone's uncle
Yeah.
coming from a long trip. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the thing with ciders, they
Taking
smell.
off his shoes.
Okay, this is not a
This
cider.
isn't a cider tech. This is a beer. This is a proper light beer.
But it has tequila in it, so it's kind of more like cognac. It's in its own family.
It's in its own family,
This and
correct?
cognac stand in the corner. And be
We
like-
really should have taken Hunter's Gold. That would have been a proper cider.
So the
Or
volume
Tusker
is,
cider.
5.5. No, is it 5.9? They left 0.1 for you. I don't know, beggars and choosers.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one of our old shorts. You should go and check it out. So where is it from? Before we drink it, so this is.
I mean, tequila, I believe, is from Mexico to
Yeah.
start with. So
I'm on mushroom, so I cannot read because everything is moving.
that underwater effect that you
That
get even with
underwater effect.
LSD.
I just wish I could see where it's from, but apparently it's a strong beer. But 5.9 is not strong. Actually, we have another one that's 10%.
I suspect, based on the name, Desperados is also a Mexican brand. But, you know, this is subject to possibly being proven wrong. Let
We
me
had
just
a
do
funny
quick
joke.
Google
We had a funny
search.
joke from our editor. He was talking about how the first time he drank Desperado, he ended up with a much older lady. I don't know if he ended up with her just for one night or like for a long term.
So he was 22 when he bagged a 28-year-old woman.
That's not that much older.
And I was
but-
like, he got himself, wait for it, a desperado.
And I was like, it's a desperate hoe. It's a desperate hoe.
What
Desperado.
country is
Is Desperado? Oh, he already got it. It's from France. Can you imagine?
Desperados is from France?
So Desperado is a tequila flavored pale lager. It's a lager.
It's a lager. Exactly. I told you it's proper beer.
It's a dirty lager, like it's been flavored with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, it's been corrupted.
5.9 is kind of like
understandable.
69. Oh, let's get to the actual review. So it smells like.
Speaking of which, we have 169 subscribers on
dope.
YouTube as of this recording. It's
That
amazing.
should be a new position. You add one more person to the 69.
Yeah, it's like, well, you guys are doing a 69, there's a cameraman there.
Has anyone,
that's a 169.
Yeah, that's a 169. Has any one of you guys tried the 74 that we invented last time?
The
One of you
74
bows
probably
and the other
nobody's
one
going to
takes a
try unless they're too crazy. It's like, what did we say a 74 was? Someone is
bowing and then the other
taking
one
a
is taking
shit while the other person is bowing over them
Taking a
for some
shit
weird
on a
reason.
latrine as well.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
smells quite nice, I would say. It's quite light. It smells very neutral. It's quite interesting. It smells very neutral. It smells like a light beer, and it is a light beer.
Yeah, it is a light beer.
Now let's see what the taste is like. You've already had a sip, so what does it taste like?
It's sweet, sweeter than I would expect, but I guess that's probably from the glucose syrup. I don't taste the tequila as much. Maybe I just don't recognize the taste of tequila as well as I would like to.
I mean,
But to me, it feels like a regular beer. And I've drunk Desperados before a lot. It's actually one of my favorite beers.
It tastes like a bitter cider.
It tastes like a bit.
Like a bit of
And maybe
cider.
that's
That's the
why
tequila.
you like kind of like miscategorize.
Oh, we're getting a caller.
Okay, let's
We're gonna have
pause.
to pause this
Yeah.
for the emergency hotline.
Yeah.
Let me just unlock this.
Someone needs
The phone needs to
the
be fingered.
pipe unplugged.
The pipe
What?
unplugged. But who plugged it first? Anyways.
Oh,
we're good. We're
This one.
good.
We'll slog through this
All
recording.
right, we're back. That was mystery caller. We're not gonna tell you who it is. It's kind of like Miss Bellum in the Pop-Up Girls.
You
Did
remember
you know?
we got like this piece of advice that we should also have people calling in during the podcast recording.
Whose
So,
number are we gonna give though?
I mean, we could give yours or mine. I don't mind. Or we could buy a number just for
We
ThinkShack.
could do that because me potentially people might fall in love with me, Mr. Lover. Ramsey as well. I mean.
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate the love that's been trickling. We've been saying we actually have quite a few loyal subscribers. Should we shout them out? Let's shout them out.
Bichachi is one.
Oh shit! Now I feel bad because I have to go and look at the other ones. I forget the names, but there's
No, but I know
Star-
there's Joan Wahoo.
There's a guy whose name is Star something. He's always commenting as well.
Yeah, we have like some mad love from people out there that comment on everything. of
Much
course.
appreciation to you guys. We wouldn't be doing this without you guys because you actually give us motivation to keep it going. Now, where were we before we got interrupted? We were talking about
The taste
of
of
this
tequila beer.
tequila beer. It tastes like a
Desperados.
bitter cider. That's what it tastes like.
It does taste like a bitter cider. So I mean, it's a light-bodied alcohol. I like the idea of like a body whenever you talk about like beer because the idea is
Very nice.
It doesn't feel as full or as heavy
As a stout, for example, we're gonna have a stout.
and we're gonna talk about a stout in a minute.
Before we get into it, I think it's good that we give our viewers just a brief a primer what they should expect. There's a few types of beer, and I think there's 5 main classifications. Okay, there's probably like 3, and then the other ones are like offshoots of this.
No, I don't know about the details of that, but I did do some research on every single one of what we're drinking today.
I know a bit because I do love beer actually. I quite enjoy beer. I'm not a fan of liquor. I don't like the bitter taste of it, and I mean as much as it gets
aftertaste,
the bitter
especially.
aftertaste as well. Beer is something you can appreciate with a steak. You can
Yeah.
appreciate with maybe some lasagna or something. It's like it's an experience. I usually
Yeah.
take beer just for the sake. Beer doesn't get me drunk. It just makes me. It's a good beer. I mean, it's a good taste. It's not like
I
carbonated.
mean, you
water.
literally told me the other day that you used to take non-alcoholic.
I used to take non-alcoholic beer
Beers.
without sugar, without any
It was
carbonate.
that much
I
love.
love it. I love it. So there's stouts, which are full-bodied, I imagine.
Yeah.
And then there's
There's
lagers,
lagers.
which are somewhere like in between the ciders and the stouts. in
No.
terms of
Lagers
body.
are proper beers. Ciders are not beers. Ciders are made from fermented apple juice or fruit juice. So like apple cider is of course like we call it. I mean, and there's some etymology to be expressed here. It's like this is juice expressed from an apple. I know when you
Expressed from
when
an
you think of expression, you're like, oh yeah, this is someone expressing this. But expression also means like the pressing action where you press a fruit to get the juice. So
It's extracted and pressed.
Exactly,
Maybe that
expressed.
was,
So that's what a cider is. So like from apples, of course, mostly it's apple cider, but like you could have pear cider, for example, or whatever. And
That
then
sounds wrong though.
yeah,
Sounds perverted.
pear cider. Yeah, exactly. And then we have like lagers and stouts. We have ales. And ales are like, there's a whole history behind that. I'm gonna talk about
We're gonna
it.
talk
Yeah.
all about them.
But then there's also IPA, which is like Indian Pale Ale. And the reason why it's a thing is because at some point, and we're gonna talk about this,
Indians have quite a rich history.
when the British East India Company was exporting ales to India, they would add extra hops into it so it doesn't spoil. But in the process, they created a new kind of ale that was more full-bodied and closer to a beer, and it was called the Indian Pale Ale.
Yes,
exactly. We also have
a blonde beer. We have a Bavaria. I used to drink non-alcoholic Bavaria.
we have Belgian Triple as well.
Belgian Triple. I think that's what the Bavaria is. Actually.
Exactly. And Belgian Triple is like a very uniquely Belgian kind of beer where they add more hops and stuff. Like it has higher alcohol content. We have Belgian Triples hitting 12% alcohol by volume.
The one we have today is 10%, but it's actually from a Kenyan company. And you happen to know the guy.
254 Beers. Yeah, I play football with him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Owen. So like,
hey Owen, we're gonna be sampling your beer. We're gonna give honest opinions.
Yeah, exactly. We also have, apart from Belgian triples, I think we have another one here.
It's a blonde beer. I don't know what classification that is, but that's probably in the Belgian.
We'll look it up. Yeah, but like, let's do this one at a time. So right now
we have a few assistants. We have a few helpers today.
Yeah, we have sampled Desperados, and Desperados is tequila beer. But let's talk a little bit about ciders, because that's what we thought it was.
We thought it was a cider.
So we might as well like help out with that. So like a cider is any alcoholic. Actually, technically, it doesn't have to be an alcoholic beverage, because you can drink a non-alcoholic cider. It's any juice expressed from apples and other fruits.
I don't know if you ever ordered a cider at I don't know, like a restaurant or something. They bring it to you in a wine glass.
They bring it to you in a wine glass. Yeah, exactly. Because it's all fruit. It's like grapes, right?
I have a question about that,
wine.
And we could extend that to the viewers as well. Is it that the recipient you drink from gives you a certain feeling of like the drink itself? It gives you a certain experience.
No, I mean for sure, even the design of glasses has like a relationship to how you're supposed to treat the drink. Champagne glasses are champagne glasses.
They're called actually champagne flutes.
Exactly. The champagne flutes are like that for a reason. Wine glasses, the glasses you drink red wine from are a lot wider than the glasses you drink white wine from. You know? They're like that for a reason. You drink, ales and beers from the tumblers, for a reason, right? Shots are taken from those small glasses. Whiskey glasses look the way they look for a reason.
There's a lot of history to this kind
and
of
we
thing.
could like explore this in an episode where we just explore the different types of glasses that you take liquor from and what the purpose of each glass
There's
is.
actually a show on Netflix called Blown Away, which is about glass making. There's so much intricacies to the art of glass.
The glass blowing, yeah, how they make glasses, yeah. So like, there's a reason why each glass is shaped the way it is. Like for example, I know that with wine glasses, even the way you hold them. Is important, because you're not supposed to like hold it at the base so your body temperature doesn't ruin the wine.
Exactly. So and also so that you don't sweat through the glass.
Exactly.
It's quite an amazing design. Like design is quite deep if you think about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of depth to the
things
design.
to appreciate, and this is kind of just like a challenge.
So actually,
to you
I don't know
listeners.
if there is, but like cider also has a traditional glass that it's served in, and it's called the ribbed glass. So
Can you describe what it looks like?
Okay, so like there's a picture here and we can look at it, but like a ribbed glass looks it has like this interesting pattern.
It looks beautiful on mushrooms.
Yeah, it's trapezoid in shape, where like the
3D.
base, the base is narrower than the top, of course. But then it also has like this ribbing, which I think helps.
It's on the inside as well.
Yeah, it's on the inside, which I think helps with like the bubbles. So they stick to the inside of the ribbing, as opposed to if you had a smoother glass. And I think it just makes the cider look better. This is just, based off of what I'm seeing. I don't know if it serves
And
any
from
other
the looks
function.
of it, it doesn't seem to foam as much, because this one doesn't have any foam to it.
Yeah, cider does not foam as much as other beers. You can tell. So ideally, we should have probably have bought either Tusker cider or Hunter's Choice Gold. Hunter's Gold.
I think both dry
Those
and
would have
gold
been
are ciders still.
Those would have been
I
proper
like dry
ciders.
because it's not as sweet. Thank you. Oh, so there's also
Savannah. Savannah is a popular cider. Girls
don't know why
drink
we didn't
Savannah in clubs all the time. I don't know why we never thought of that.
Cider is actually popular for ladies because of the lightness of them, the light
The
body.
sweetness
The
as well,
sweetness
because
as
girls
well.
love sweet drinks.
Most women I've met hate the taste of beer.
Most women hate.
Funny enough,
the
they can
taste of
take
beer.
shots of straight liquor, but they don't like the taste of beer. It's weird.
It's
a
weird.
thing. It's a weird relationship because it's almost like subjective norms. Because
Yeah.
you're like, I don't like the taste of Guinness, but I can.
I mean,
take
we have like a
Gilbey's.
whole meme scape around it. Where it's like, dem anakunywa Guinness, wewe ni mwanaume.
Yeah, exactly.
Wewe ni mwanaume mwenzako.
It's
It's like, but really, it doesn't matter. Like, technically, beer isn't sex. It's sexless. A woman or man can drink beer and appreciate it. This is a lot of this just society, you know.
Yeah.
So
Beer can get you sex.
beer can get you sex as well.
Yeah.
Can it though?
You buy them enough
Is the girl
beers.
drinking beer?
You buy her enough beers. They could be. I mean, cider's a beer. Cider's a beer.
Right.
You buy her cider.
No, it's
is
not.
it though? Is it?
Cider is an alcoholic beverage.
Okay, before we get carried away,
It's
what is
fermented
a
juice of
beer?
apples.
What is the definition of a
A
beer?
beer needs malt,
Hops.
Yeah, exactly.
Hops and barley.
Hops. Not
Those
even
three
necessarily
things.
hops.
Malt.
Barley or hops are usually added to balance the malt.
Thank you.
By give like it's to add bitterness, right? So like hops are added to beers for two reasons.
And also need what is it? Starch-based.
Starch-based malted cereals. Exactly, like
which
barley.
ciders do not have.
You can make it from sorghum as well. You can make like all of these cereals. You could even make it from wheat if you wanted. You know. So like the idea behind hops, adding hops to beer, is one to balance the malt, and they add a bitter taste to the beer. It's actually the hops which contribute to the bitterness, and two, to preserve it. Hops are really good as a preservative. And there's a whole science behind how you add hops. Are you adding it while you're boiling the beer? Are you adding it while the beer is fermenting? In which case we call that dry hops. Are you adding, like the hops and then like after a while you add like extra hops? Like, so like when you're doing like dry hopping, you add them while the beer is fermenting, and then you take them out and then you add fresh hops like after like an hour or two, which gives it's called double hops. Wow. So like it gives it an even stronger bitter aftertaste. But we'll get to that.
We'll get to that.
Let's focus on ciders
so
for
far,
now. Yeah,
as you can tell.
So let's focus on ciders
If you're
for
enjoying
now.
this,
So
give
like
us a like. We never actually say this because we don't like to pander for likes.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're enjoying this, go ahead and express in the comments what you know about beer.
So an interesting thing about like ciders is that the UK has the world's highest per capita consumption of ciders.
Wow.
As well as the largest cider producing companies, right? It's also popular in many Commonwealth countries such as India, Canada, Australia, New Zealand. I know it's popular in Kenya because Savannah is pretty popular, and so on and so forth. They like to make a distinction because like you can also drink non-alcoholic cider. They like to make a distinction between hard cider and regular cider because like hard cider has higher alcoholic content.
Would it be like Hunter's Dry versus Hunter's Gold? No,
hard cider is like some people, instead of calling it cider, just call it hard cider because like a cider can also be like a non-alcoholic drink from an apple.
Remind me again.
But if it has alcoholic content in it, then it's a hard cider.
They usually say it's ABV content. What is the ABV?
Alcohol by volume. Right, yeah.
There we go.
So if you have like a hard cider, it's like just the way that some people like to make the distinction between an actual cider, because like literally a cider is just juice. Right?
So this would be a hard cider, I imagine. Because
this is a hard cider.
It's 5.9%.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, this is a tequila, but whatever.
But if it were a cider, it would be a hard cider. Yeah. So that is on that front. I would like for us to go to the lagers. I don't know why you poured the tequila in my
tumbler. Because I wanted to finish. Bottoms up. Cheers.
Yeah, bottoms up.
How do you say cheers in the world? Like, what ways to say cheers? In French, you say probably salut or something like that.
Salute. Yeah. I don't know how
you say.
What do you say in
That's
Swahili?
in China.
Like kunyo Buddha.
Kunyo Buddha. Marisa grass jameni.
Exactly.
Shogani.
Shogani.
Swahili people are the most polite and most offensive.
Kumanina zako. Kunyo pombe kumanina zako.
What is a nina though?
No, nina means mother. So kumanina means your mother's pussy.
But why is it zako?
No, it's just like a thing. It's like kwenda zako or like shauri zako. But the actual insult is kumanina or kumanyoko. Nyoko is also mother.
Mom is used in Uganda as well.
Or kumamako.
Exactly.
Same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's this thing I saw, like these memes about like I'm gonna be in Coast this weekend. Ati mshikaki ngapi kumamai?
Kumamai, yeah. Kumamai means kumamamake. Yeah, it's just like a ngeli thing.
All right, we've taken the shots.
I don't know if the corruption will affect the taste, but like, because we have the same tumblers.
Corruption always affects the taste.
Yeah.
Kenyans know about corruption.
Corruption affects the taste
How does
because
it
corrupt
taste?
individuals suddenly start buying more expensive things. This one can easily segue into that conversation.
That's deep.
Yeah.
All right.
Next, we're gonna look at
ASMR.
lagers.
This is gonna be easier because it's a can, but be
Yeah.
careful not to spill because these things tend to
Yeah,
fall.
we don't
Can't
know,
spill
we
it
don't want it on the laptop.
Mac.
Yeah.
The return of the Mac. Oh, that was nice.
Yeah.
You ASMR listeners.
So this is Tasca Lager. We decided to promote
That looks
local.
beautiful. That looks beautiful.
Local
Thank you.
shit.
Is
It
that mine or
has
yours? That's
foamed
mine.
on my glass. I will try the opposite wall trick here and see if it foams.
It's kind of like peeing in a urinal.
Yeah.
It's gonna foam if you don't pee on the side. And it's also nice. Like for first date, pee on the side of the
Yeah.
bowl.
Remember when we were talking about
Life
vertical
tips.
surfaces?
Yeah, life
in
tips.
men? Okay, so now we're looking at lagers.
This is a lot of foam.
Well, technically, Desperados was a light lager, but here now we're going to talk properly about lagers while we drink Tasca, right?
Lager is actually my favorite type of.
What's the smell
beer.
like?
Smells like a fresh field of wheat.
To me, it smells more like urine than Desperados. It has
Well,
this
it has
weird...
been corrupted as well.
Have you ever noticed that every
You're
time
right,
you
actually.
drink,
Now that I think about it,
when you piss, if you like smell a drunkard's piss, it smells so strongly like alcohol.
potent.
It's potent. Alcohol does interesting things to your piss.
But sometimes, funny enough, yeah, it is. Now that you mention it, it's funny how your suggestion has made it.
Yeah,
more
it's like
unpleasant.
almost like Inception. You know, I've incepted the thought into
It's
your
not
mind.
pleasant. So what are we drinking? Tusker. Tusker is one of the older companies in Kenya. I wish we. I mean, I could. Probably
Technically, it's E EABL.
Could we have a live audience? Could Jeff? Could you look up the history of Tusker, please?
Yeah.
Look at like when it was founded.
Actually, it already says
1922.
since 1922.
I wonder if it's a
that's
pure
since
Kenyan
colonialism.
company. I wonder if it's a pure. Exactly. I wonder if it's a pure Kenyan company.
I don't think so.
In as much as the brand.
If it has
is
its
like-
roots in
thank you.
colonialism, then it must have been started by a white person or an Indian.
Here it is. So the origin of the name Tusker came about as a
George
memoriam
Hurst, a
following the-
co-founder of Kenya Brewers Limited.
Exactly. Who was killed by an elephant. What kind of dog
During
shit?
a hunting expedition in 1922.
What kind of dog shit is this? I mean, okay, it's kind of like Christianity. You have the cross, which your Lord and
So
Savior was
EABL is
crucified on.
probably also formerly Kenya Brewers Limited, which is like a colonial company. Like this is just like one of those interesting facts that
What
people
the
wouldn't know
fuck?
about. Tusker is called Tusker because the co-founder of Kenya Brewers Limited, now EABL, was killed by an elephant in a hunting
Did you
expedition
get
in
this? Though?
1922.
Did you get exactly? Because on the thing it says
Since 1922.
1922.
That's when George Hurst was killed by an elephant.
That's kind of dark though.
It is.
Like they take your death and make it a meme. It's weird. It's weird. But apparently, so it had some colonial influences. Obviously.
Maybe it's also like meta is a reference to the long memory of an elephant. Because the beer remembers the death. And elephants never
This
forget.
is besides the point, but elephants have killed a lot of people in Kenya. I mean, you think they're very soft because you know cartoons and
They're angry
movies.
creatures.
They're angry creatures. They've destroyed.
Yeah.
There's a book that was a set book. I think it was called "The Terrorist of the Aberdare."
And I think that LSD is starting to kick in, the loading shit disorder.
Yeah.
You may have to pause this.
I may have to pause this one. Ramsey goes makes a deposit. Let me pause it right now.
Let me go make a deposit.
Make sure you spray though. I'm back on.
Okay, we're back on.
So I was making a joke about how I've never felt the need to take a shit.
But I
on-
have
on-
every
on
time because like this is psilocybin. It's not technically LSD, but it's
a
the
mushroom,
same
yeah. It's the same
family of
component.
psychedelics, right?
Same component. But I was just joking about Ramsey might be a shitty person or he might be full of shit. It's all good. It's all love.
Psychedelics just bring that out.
Yeah.
Okay,
And funny
so
enough, now that we're recording, I'm sure it feels like you feel like going again.
probably a bit, but not so much now. I think
mean,
it's just the weird
loading shit disorder.
loading. Yeah, it's always loading. Anyway, let's talk about lagers again. So like a lager is very important.
But then the crazy thing is that this is actually going to be in the final edit. Just for the memes, you know.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
All right.
Well, a lager is a very unique kind of beer because it's brewed and conditioned at low temperature. Now, something about beer is that you can actually boil it, and sometimes we see
Shit.
that when we're talking about stouts, right?
Sounds nasty.
And we'll come to that. But with lagers, it's all done at low temperatures, right? So
Yeah.
lagers can be pale, amber, dark. Like right now, we're doing an amber lager. Like Tusker is one of the paler colored
Yours looks
lagers.
a bit different than mine, though. Is it? Mine looks a lot lighter.
I don't know. I think they look the same.
Okay.
Maybe it's just like maybe it's the psilocybin kicking in.
Probably.
Right. So like with lagers, they can be different colors, but the most widely consumed is pale lager, which is what we are having right now, right?
Indian pale ale is actually a type of lager, isn't it?
No, it's not. An ale is different
An
from a
ale is
lager.
different, you're right, you're
But
right.
we will get to that, right?
to that.
And one of the things is that lagers are matured in cold storage. I told you that they're done in low temperatures. But most lagers are distinguished by the use of a bottom fermenting yeast that ferments at relatively cold temperatures. So it's also the type of yeast that they use to make lagers that distinguishes them from other kinds of beer, right?
My favorite lager is White Cap. There's a new one. I don't think you've tried it. It's called White Cap Crisp. It's
White
very
Cap
light. It's
Crisp.
delicious. I mean, me
Really?
being a
We should have
beer
bought that for this.
No, the thing is, we wanted to try something that's a bit out there. So, what actually are we drinking? This has a bit of history to it. The Tusker we've told
I mean,
you
we've
about,
talked about Tusker. Yeah,
history to it.
exactly.
Tusker is probably consumed outside of Kenya. Could you Google if it's consumed?
It
outside of
is.
Kenya?
Every time a Muzungu comes to Kenya,
They're like,
they
"Do you have
talk to me
Tusker?"
do you have Tusker? Tusker is the most popular.
A lot
beer
of people
in
didn't
Kenya.
know that because they probably thought it's like, I mean, it was synonymous with Kenya Brewers Limited, but it's probably consumed
So
in Australia.
here are
as
some
well.
interesting facts about lagers. Do you know that at the beginning they were brewed in caves? They were matured in caves.
Wow, that's
Right. In
mysterious. Why
fact,
were they? Why were they?
In fact, because like of the low temperatures, right?
So you have to find a
because
cave.
they didn't have refrigerators
That's crazy,
back
man.
then. But now here's the thing,
Must have
right?
had a lot of cave
Until
sex while making
yeah,
lager.
exactly. Until the 19th century, the word lager actually comes from German lager beer, right? Which is refers
sounds
to
German.
all types of bottom fermented cool conditioned beers. Right, but like with cold storage of beer, lagering like was synonymous with like maturing beers in caves, right? And
been
it
a
was a
whole
common
experience.
practice throughout the medieval period. So according to folklore, some believe that beer underwent a transformation in Bavaria, which is in Germany, you know that, at some point in history, whereby dark ales were turned into a pale colored beer. So then they would do this in caves, and sometimes they would also grow. I don't know what kind of plant it is. So like, let me see.
I have to zoom in.
Chestnut trees, right? So like in the 19th century, prior to the advent of refrigeration, German brewers would dig cellars for lagering, like caves, and fill them with ice from nearby lakes and rivers.
I wonder what Africans were doing for refrigeration back
I
then.
don't know. Which would cool the beer during the summer months. To further protect the cellars from the summer heat, they would plant chestnut trees, which have spreading dense canopies, but shallow roots which would not intrude on the caverns, right? So the practice of serving beer at these sites evolved into the modern beer garden. I'm sure you've heard about
I've
beer
heard the beer
gardens.
garden. Isn't
Exactly.
there a beer garden? No, it's a beer district. in Kenya.
Beer district is in Kenya, yeah. But like the idea of like having a beer garden, like an outdoor area in which beer and food is served, came from lagering.
So the gardens will be near the caves, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So that's just some fun facts about like where lagers came from.
Hey, do you
With
know- do you know
Africans, because
anything
like we
about
have to
Mauritania?
understand like with refrigeration, with Africans it was more about preservation. We had like salt preservation, smoking and stuff. So it wasn't
Put it underground
refrigeration
and
per
whatever.
se, but we had our ways of preserving shit.
I just want to look at the parallels between Muratina because Muratina has a bit of history to it as well.
And I would love to know. For me,
I thought you did.
No, I don't know enough. But like one of the things that pisses me the fuck off is how we don't have enough people.
Written history.
Yeah, exactly. No, even online, like make a website that
It's
just
almost
talks
as
about
if-
African
there is,
history.
There is. Staple of Central Kenya's Kikuyu community. It has a sour distinct. Is it sour though? I heard it's very sweet. Anyways,
It's actually
Muratina
pretty sweet.
is named after a fruit that comes from a wild tree commonly known as the sausage tree. Oh,
Due to the long sausage-like shape of the fruit,
Hey!
which dangled from string-like twigs.
Suggestive dialogue. Remember about the African sausage?
Yeah, the African sausage.
So
Mutura.
Muratina drinkers, I think they call it radish in the street. Right?
This is amazing for me because like I was just about to go on a rant about how we don't have enough written history for
Well, there you
Africa.
go, man.
And we have a whole website here, atlasobscura.com.
The
But
thing that
I'm
pisses
pretty
me
sure
off-
it's a white guy.
Exactly, it
I'm
pisses
pretty
me
sure
off.
it's a white guy.
pisses me
It's
off.
not an African. We need Africans making these websites.
And they call
Actually,
it Gastro Obscura because it's like he's exploring the obscure things of the world. Like
Yeah.
he literally had to come to Kenya to explore it. It's a bit of a shame.
he even has a fucking map showing highlighting. This is definitely a white guy.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Anyways, challenge to you listeners out there: go ahead and explore some.
I
of
think
these
eventually we should make a website for ThinkShack, and we should have like a blog section where we like write about the more interesting shit we talk about, just to
Yeah.
like kind of document shit like African shit, you know?
Wow. Okay, let me talk about this for a second because traditions dictate that only the fruits that have fallen on the ground should be used for Muratina. Muratina is something pure. I always thought it was something corrupted, almost like changa, but
Wow.
shock on me. Brewers who have learned the art of making Muratina from years of watching the elders, I love that tradition that's been passed on. They combine boiled, sun-dried fruit with water and sugarcane juice, and sometimes honey. then allow the mixture to ferment over
Sugarcane,
several
the same
days.
thing that we find in Konyagi.
Yeah.
Something to mention there.
Africans and sugarcane have a bit of a long history. It's
We
quite
have
interesting.
quite a romantic relationship.
Oh, there's
with
more.
sugarcanes.
Is there more?
Nah,
okay.
it's my
Is
Wi-Fi.
that the
Someone
stock
wants my
market?
Wi-Fi
Someone wants the
password.
market. Oh, okay, of course they have to interrupt. Traditionally, the brew is served in cow horns.
Cow
I would
horns.
love to go to a place. If you know a place that does this, I would love to go to a place that
serves
actually.
Muratina
You know a
cow
place that does
horns.
this? Definitely we have to go and sample this. They serve it in cow horns, and unlike in an ordinary glass, you can't put it down. You can't put down a horn, so you have to drink it. Once you put it down, it spills its contents. So
Right.
super interesting. That's the history of Muratina. I mean, I wanted to segue because there's a bit of history to that as well. People don't realize that. Anyways, thank
Yeah,
you, sir.
exactly. So like Muratina is definitely African liquor. We have so many of them. We
African
have
beer.
It's an African. Is it? No, it's not a beer. It's not made from malt.
It's not liquor though. It's not. No.
Yeah, it's an African alcoholic beverage. It is in its own
You're right.
class,
It's
right?
Sugarcane juice, sun-dried fruit.
Yeah, exactly. So we could call it an African.
You know what? We
spirit
didn't get
if
to
you
talk about
want.
this last time, but I want to segue because I mean a lot of this episode is going to be on the drinks and whatever. But it's kind of like the argument we're making. There's this belief that African like lore or whatever is not as complex or advanced or as deep rooted as Western sphere, and this has proven us wrong because clearly you can see this parallel.
It is deep rooted. It's just not as well documented,
It's not
and
as well
that's the
documented.
problem.
Like, we're
If we
talking
had
about the
better
languages.
documentation of our history and our products and our like. Remember when we were talking about cognac? And we're like, it does not fit any particular category. It's not a gin. It's not a vodka. But like, we need better documentation and better categorization. So we need like classes of liquor, for example, for African liquors. And I'm pretty sure there's a whole world of liquors out there. Nigerians, Angolans, South
Yeah.
Africans. They all have their shit. We just don't have like proper industrialization
Just
where
to
like
throw
these
this
guys produce their stuff
out there
and they
just
sell it.
to, I guess, bring back give you something to brag about. You know, one of the oldest languages of humanity is not hieroglyphics. It's actually the Dogon of West Africa, Dogon script of West Africa. They're
Written
found-
languages,
they're written
I would
languages.
say, because like the oldest language is probably click sounds from like the Khoisans.
Probably in Amapiano.
If we're
Amapiano
being
is the one-
honest, yeah. If we're being honest about the oldest languages, it's probably the click sounds or whatever or some East African, some far gone East African language right now, because we're literally the cradle of mankind.
cradle
But
of
in terms
mankind.
of written languages, okay, so it's Dogon stuff from West Africa.
Yeah, Dogon stuff. I'd actually like to get a Dogon tattoo. If someone from the listeners knows where I could get one, that would be dope. All right.
So like we've
Jump
talked
back
about
into it.
lager, that was Tusker. Next, we are going to
Finish your drink.
Look at
Finish your
stout.
drink.
Yeah,
Gonna count down.
We're
1,
gonna be
2,
so
3. Go.
drunk by the time this
Our
episode
listeners
is
need
done.
to hit the like buttons because we're going to down 3 liters of alcohol. It's crazy, man. But
Okay.
at the same time, it's beer. Beer doesn't get you drunk that much. Honestly.
Next on the list is Guinness Smooth,
This is my favorite
which
drink.
is a stout.
One of my favorite drinks. Let's
Let ASMR, let me get the
guys,
laptop
ready.
out of the way.
Get your napkins ready. Come as you are.
Oh,
that's
there it
beautiful.
is.
That's beautiful. All right. That was
Weirdly, the mushrooms do not block the effects of alcohol.
That's
I can
weird.
actually feel it.
I can actually
it's
feel
not like
the-
LSD.
It's not like LSD, but everything looks more beautiful. You know, Google Chrome TVs have whatever. These wallpapers that
The
come up,
the
it's
screensavers.
beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, honestly. Like, I'm just looking at bottles, but they look amazing.
Yeah. So there we are.
I'm not a big fan
It's
of
very dark.
stouts, but it's
Let's
very
just
dark.
be let's point out right off the bat. It's very very
Let's go
dark.
with the smell. Let's go with the smell. Has a bit of
Strong as fuck. This is like a really really strong urine.
it's a
I don't know why I keep comparing all of them to
get
urine.
Get outside of the urine. For me, as a beer drinker, let's get
It's
outside
like
the
this
urine.
drunkard's urine is strong as fuck.
Let's get outside of that.
Yeah, but
It
it's
smells
really
something
deep.
like a tree. I mean, the body of this is definitely full. Stouts are you're either gonna hate them or you're gonna love them. Guinness
Right.
is one of the most popular stouts.
Right.
There's different types of stouts, but Guinness is probably the most popular. So this has a bit of a earthy.
It's earthy,
Very earthy.
very tree-like.
But I love the taste of it. I want you to try it. This is Guinness Smooth. I did it on purpose because Guinness would probably make you throw up, especially on mushrooms.
No, I've tasted Guinness. They compare it to oil. They was like, unakunywa oil.
Nakunywa mafuta.
Yeah, because it looks like oil. It looks like engine oil.
I mean, it's cheaper than it's actually more expensive than the price of oil. Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's have
so-
a taste of it. Quite nice, isn't it?
It's actually pretty cool.
I love. This is my favorite beer
I
nowadays.
love fucking Guinness Smooth. That is
It's
awesome.
beautiful. It has a bit of a fruity taste to it, like some dried fruits, like dates.
Right, yeah. And now you'll be even more interested in the
amazing.
history of stout
Let's go for it.
as a naming.
Let's go for it.
So, stout is a dark, top fermented. Remember we talked about bottom fermented, which is lager. Sorry, not lager, but actually it was lager. Bottom fermenting yeast. Remember? So like a special kind of yeast is used to make lager. Bottom fermented. Stout is top fermented, right? So it's a dark top fermented beer with a number of variations. Of course, there's dry stout, there's oatmeal stout, there's milk stout. There's a whole fucking range. But the first known use of the word stout for beer in a document dated...
Sounds like something strong, actually.
Yeah, actually for the longest time in the English lexicon, stout used to mean courageous.
It's a stout gentleman.
Yeah, it used to mean courageous, and then after it became more popular as a, like as a naming for beer, it started to mean strong because a stout is a strong beer, and we'll get to that in a minute.
I'm loving the effect of this mushrooms.
Right. So like it was in a document dated 1677, found in the Adjutant manuscripts. Whoever gives a fuck, no one gives a fuck what that is, which referred to its strength. Now, stouts are also called porters.
Yes.
Now, the name porter was first used later in 1721 to describe a dark brown beer. Because of a huge popularity of porters, brewers made them in a variety of strengths, so that stronger stouts or porters were typically 7 or 8% alcohol by volume, and these were called stout porters.
I think Americans actually know it more as a porter.
Right. Actually, it's funny because the name porter originated in London, England, in the early 1720s. And the style, and I want you to listen to this very carefully. Because a name is going to pop up here that's going to be very familiar. So porters originated in London, England in the early 1720s. And the style quickly became popular in the city. Hey, we're gonna have to pause then. The style quickly became popular in the city. Sorry guys, we have like a noisy audience member. We sometimes have audience members on the podcast.
We're gonna have you too.
Yeah.
Come with no underwear.
Talk to us nicely.
Talk to us nicely.
Yeah. So the style quickly became popular in the city, especially with porters. It had a strong flavor, took longer to spoil than other beers, so stouts last longer, they don't spoil as easily, and was significantly cheaper than other beers, and was not as affected by heat. So within a few decades, porter breweries in London had grown beyond any previously known scale. Large volumes were exported to Ireland, and by 1776, take note, it was being brewed by Sir Arthur Guinness at his St. James Gate Brewery.
So that's why they became synonymous with stouts.
And Guinness is probably the single most famous stout in the world today.
Do you mind Googling this, Jeff? It might be the most consumed beer across the world.
What is the most consumed beer brand? You could check. I don't know. I mean, Heineken seems like a large contender, and Budweiser because of Americans. But like maybe Guinness might actually take the.
Americans tend to skew statistics, not just because.
I know.
But then
it's like when you look at like NBA, it's like.
Yeah.
Only Americans watch NBA, but for some weird reason,
it's one of the world's most watched. But the thing is, there's 300 million people in America. Like that does tend to.
That's a significant population.
If we had that kind of unity, like in Africa, it would be pretty interesting. We probably.
Well, like there's probably some. I mean, this is another joke I like to make. There's probably some Chinese musician who is like gets billions of views, but they're all from China. Nobody outside China knows them. But they're really popular in China, and they make all of their money off. Like having a large population.
To listen to Chinese music right now, I would die.
Yeah. I mean, remember when Gangnam Style came out? I mean, it's so Chinese, South Korean, but like that was like a window into that world.
My sister and I tried to watch. I'll get to this in a bit. My sister and I.
So the most popular is Heineken. I was right, and then Budweiser, and then Bud Light, and then Corona. Guinness literally does not even feature in the top 10.
This is fucked up. No, Guinness is there. After Yang Jing, who the fuck is Yang Jing?
Yang Jing, it's China. Remember population shit? I would even make a contention.
All these are drunk in America.
And you can prove me wrong, but because Heineken is popular in America, Budweiser and Bud Light are popular in America, and Corona is popular in America.
So is Stella Artois.
Exactly. Those first few are literally skewed by the American population.
So I think also, here's the thing, because of the statistics.
But like outside of America, I think Guinness is pretty popular.
Probably Americans are some of the world's highest consumers of beer as well. So that
of course.
I was
always drinking beers.
I was making this joke about how one time my sister and I actually tried to watch Chinese news because the DSTV had expired or something. Like, let's see.
Were you watching on a porn site?
No.
Like Japanese.
I was with my sister, bro.
Oh, okay.
No, it was with my sister. We were watching Chinese.
Japanese porn with like
not my stepsister. Not my stepsister. I would make sure I'd throw the remote under the table so she gets stuck there.
I'm stuck in the washing machine.
Dun, 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 dun.
Like, oh, she's stuck.
She's stuck.
This means that we need to fuck her
I
for
need
some
to
weird
do
reason.
what I need to do. I mean, it's a stepsister. I'm only one step away.
Trevor really went hard with the memes in the last episode, though.
Yeah.
Because, like, remember with, like, the porn, like, he kept adding those memes
Yeah.
about, oh, she's stuck.
Some of them are.
You know what this
hilarious
means?
though. Anyways, I was watching Chinese news with my sister, and we're like, let's try and pay attention. If you listen to it, it's hilarious. Like it's like they made up a language. I mean, sorry to the Chinese listeners. I mean, they probably think African language sounds the same. Like
You guys made up a whole language.
but it sounds hilarious. I wish
Yeah.
we could get some Chinese so we could try and watch it. But then it's hilarious.
What I find amazing or like really interesting about like Chinese, Korean, like Asian languages
great.
is the musical tone to it. It's like, you know, when I'm talking, everything ends on a down tone. You know, there's like the pitch is low. But with Chinese, like why is it a singing thing? Why does it have this
I
melodic
would
quality
love
to
to
it?
hear a
It's
Chinese-
almost like singing.
I would love to hear a Chinese woman moan. It's like, why you do that?
Bucket list.
Anyway, so in some ways I was correct because the world's best-selling stout beer is actually a Guinness.
And we just made that claim because, like, Arthur Guinness, like, I just told you, Guinness is likely the most popular stout beer in the world. I don't know if it's the most drunk beer, because, like, but it's definitely
probably
the
the
most popular
strongest.
stout beer.
Oh, Guinness is actually from Ireland. Interesting.
Yeah, Arthur Guinness is an Irish person, but, like, I mean, his
Made
St.
that
James...
joke about the leprechaun.
Yeah,
That was
leprechaun.
hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. But like this was all happening in England and Ireland at the time because like you know it started in London, England, but it spread to Ireland and the rest of the UK.
Here's the fucked up thing about Guinness though. Like they don't sell it in 300 ml. So we still have a bit more content to go through. We
Yeah.
might as well go through some of the content and just segue into this just in case.
If any of y'all ever go to Ireland and you want to see where Guinness started, you can go to Dublin, Ireland, to the Dublin, sorry, the St. James's Gate Brewery, which was founded in 1759. That's where Guinness is made. So like you can always have like I'm sure they have like a museum or
I
like
remember
they
it
allow
was in
tours
their
and shit.
ads, they were like 1759.
Yeah, exactly.
There's always these dates associated with beer. Like Tusker had 1922, 1759. Could we Google what happened in 1759? Or was it just the establishment?
It was the establishment of St. James's Gate Brewery. But like here's the thing.
Gay brewery. Fuck.
St. James's Gay Brewery. Okay, but here's the
Brewing
thing.
out a bunch
There's
of gays.
actually some really interesting facts about stout.
Okay,
right?
let's go for it.
So originally the adjective stout meant proud or brave. I told you this. But later,
Looking quite
after the
stout to me.
14th century, it took on the connotation of strong.
Oh.
The first known use of the word stout for beer was in document in 1677. So like it started out meaning brave, but now it means strong. Like a stout person is a strong person. And
It's
a
a
stout beer
strong
is a
beer.
strong beer.
But funny enough, it's not strong in the alcohol content because this is probably like 4%. It's probably like 4% alcohol by
Yeah.
volume. Let me actually
No,
have
but
it.
then I mean it was strong by
By
the
the body.
standards of its time.
Oh, really?
Right. Yeah. Also, it's important to point out, right? So like stout it's darker, it's more full-bodied and stuff.
Full-bodied.
Yeah, you get so
Strong.
it's not like a pale ale or like a lager because like lagers are so pale as well.
The
you
light
know?
skins of the.
Exactly, the light skins of the beer world, right?
I'm trying to find the percentage, but I can't. What the fuck? What's the percentage of this? Guinness Smooth is actually lighter than the actual.
Actually, any dark beer after like the time is usually called a stout. So
Christ,
because Guinness is so dark, but like dark beers.
You're trying to find. Did they hide the percentage on this? It's weird. I can't see it.
No, it's not hidden. Let me show
Isn't that
you. It's
illegal?
literally right there on the
No, no,
name.
no. It says it's a light beer. Funny enough, it says it's a light beer.
Oh wait,
Isn't that illegal? They should show the content of the.
No, it is here. It's just like in really light stats, 4.5.
A drunk person is not gonna see that shit.
Oh my god, this is actually deceptive. They put it in like such hard illegible.
Exactly.
Because it's almost the same color as the.
Do you think they did that so you could drink more? You're like, I don't know how much it
Probably.
is. Because you always want to
Probably.
judge.
Oh my
like,
God, that
if
is
it's
so
8%,
fucking
dubious.
deceptive.
It's dubious. Dubious from Dublin. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Look at this shit. You can hardly see
Dubious Dublin. Dubious Dublin beer.
it. Wow. Because it's in gold. The thing
It's in
itself-
gold and the
Wow.
can itself is gold colored, right?
That's crazy. Anyways.
Right, exactly.
So that's the
Anyway,
fucked up thing.
so
I think we
that's-
might have to move to something else, like, and then come back to because this is 500 ml. Unless we just
No, we're
put it
not
aside.
finishing it. I mean, with sampling, we can finish
With
this
sampling,
stuff
we can
later on.
finish it later, yeah.
Next, I want us to go to ales.
Let's go.
Although we don't have an ale here, I just realized what we have. The
We
closest
tried to get an
blonde
ale,
beer.
but they only sold 6 of them, and we didn't want to like. we're
Yeah,
already
but so
getting
I will
drunk
give
now.
like some facts about ale, but we do have an IPA.
We have an IPA.
which is an ale.
It's
so
an
the
India
Sandtrap.
Pale Ale.
So we'll put on the Santrap is actually pretty strong. So like,
Shit.
I'll just put a bit. It's 7% alcohol by
We're
volume.
about to get fucked up.
You can
All right,
finish
let's see if we
yours.
can
I finished
open-
mine.
Yeah, let's see if it's how do you open that one?
I mean, I could open it with my teeth.
That's not gonna sound cinematic.
Okay, so then bring something. Then we
Let's,
can open it with.
We don't have openers as thinky as we are. But let me actually try this. Here we go. Oh yeah, thank you.
Oh, we have an ale. The blonde beer is an ale. A blonde beer is a complex, clear,
to that?
mid-strength ale. Let's start with the blonde beer.
It's a Bavaria.
It's the
actually.
Bavaria 86 original intense blonde beer,
I used to love non-alcoholic
which is
Bavaria.
from Holland.
They
Bavaria
have-
is Dutch.
I think you're gonna like this more than the Guinness Smooth. While we're at it, we've had how many beers so far? 3 or 2?
3. We've had 3.
Which one is your favorite so far?
I'm loving the Guinness Smooth. That
Guinness
was my
Smooth.
favorite.
I know it's
Yeah.
interesting, right?
It was my favorite.
You would think
by
you would hate
far.
Guinness, but it's quite smooth. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, let's go for
So
the
let's go to the Bavaria.
I am thinking this is gonna change things because I used to drink non-alcoholic Bavaria, which tastes like beer.
Right.
Beautiful.
Okay. So I'm gonna pour some of it.
That's a beautiful sound.
It's like
Oh
piss.
man.
Why
Well, why'd you have to
comparing
ruin it,
everything
bro?
to piss?
I'll call you Oscar
I
Pistorius.
think it's the mushrooms.
Oscar Pistorius.
Remember the guy who killed his wife and he was in a wheelchair, which is a really weird story. 'Cause how does a guy in a wheelchair murder
And he
his
tried
wife?
to pretend that he thought he was a burglar. Like, why was he in the bathroom for that long? Because he shot her to the bathroom door.
It's such a funny story. Why did he murder her? What? I don't know how that like whole
It's
case
quite unfortunate, actually, if you think about
unfolded.
it.
But like, why did he murder his wife?
Go to smell. Smell first. Smell first.
This one actually doesn't smell like piss. It smells really good.
Funny enough, I smell nothing. It's weird.
Maybe that's
liken
why
this-
I said it doesn't
I
smell
would
like
liken
piss.
this smell to the initial, but a lighter of
It's,
the
it's
Desperado.
almost the same color as Tusker.
The Desperado
Let's go
smells
now.
like, but it has a green hue to it. Do you see it?
Yeah,
There's
slightly
a green
greener
to it.
hue.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
All right,
So let's
go
taste
for it.
It's very gentle.
It's
Very
beautiful.
gentle,
It tastes
yeah.
almost like perfumed beer.
Yeah.
I told you
Like
Bavaria makes.
perfumed. Yeah,
Are
I
you starting
actually
to
love
appreciate?
it.
Let me just ask you: are you starting to appreciate beer?
I'm starting to
It-
appreciate
it's an
beer a lot
experience.
more.
It's an
Yeah.
experience to it.
So, like I said, blonde beer is a complex, clear, mid-strength
Bavaria.
ale. So it's slightly sweet and dry with an alcohol content between 5.8% and 8%. So what percentage is Bavaria? Let's just check real quick.
Sam, come
This
taste it. Sam,
okay.
have a taste of this.
I was about to
Because
like,
this is unique. You don't get
it's
Bavaria.
8.6% by
Shout out to
volume.
Oaks and Corks, by the way, because Bavaria is hard to get in Kenya.
Yeah.
Just have a taste. Let it linger in your mouth for a bit.
What do you think?
Yeah, he's looking like he's having
He's
an
having a
orgasm.
religious experience.
He's having
right
a
now.
religious-
experience.
Although
is
we
my
should mention
favorite
he's
phrase.
high on chocolate cookie, on edible
Yeah.
chocolate.
And chocolates.
How is it though? It tastes different from most beers, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's quite interesting.
juice.
Interesting enough,
smooth.
it's quite smooth.
Just like Muratina.
It's perfume. It tastes like perfume. It has a weird rosiness to it.
Right, exactly.
It's beautiful. I would recommend Bavaria. So, okay, does this change your mind? Which comes first, this or the Guinness?
So Bavaria, because yeah, so just like adding it actually something about the way we're talking about, like it actually
Oh my
it's
goodness.
on brand because like blonde beer is supposed to be pale in color and low in bitterness. So it's it's not as bitter as other beers. But now this allows us to talk about ale because it's an ale.
Let's go for it.
So an ale is a type of beer brewed using a warm fermentation method. Remember we talked about lagers being brewed using cold fermentation?
Wait. We talked about top and bottom fermentation as well.
Yeah, lagers are brewed using cold fermentation and they're using bottom fermenting yeast. Stouts use top fermenting yeast, and stouts are boiled.
Interesting.
By the way, no, they're not boiled actually. Sorry, stouts.
No, they are. They are.
Let me just confirm.
Don't worry about it. They are. I actually confirmed from the Guinness thing, the Guinness fact.
Right. Okay. How is it made? Like I'm trying to.
This is
check.
quite. I just want to point out this is quite interesting for us as well because we're learning things about. Because for me, I love beer as well, and I'm learning more and more about it.
Yeah, I can't see anything. Is stout boiled or not? Like,
But it
that's
was.
probably
I
like
saw
a Google
something about
search.
it. Yeah.
Is stout boiled?
The Waru on steroids thing is doing really well actually because people didn't know that vodka is made from potatoes. The more you know.
Mm-hmm. Made.
I'm putting some
in
waiting music.
high or low temperatures. We should probably ask GPT for at this rate.
Gay PT.
We have not been including GPT in our episodes enough. We need to include it.
I think it got to a point where it stagnated a bit, to be honest. Like, it was amazing at first. I mean, that novelty wore
It
off.
still is. GPT-4, which is on the paid version,
Mm-hmm.
is actually still amazing. It's just now a lot of the focus has been about like, how to write the right prompts.
Unfortunately, I'm a cheapskate. I haven't even explored GPT-3 to the maximum.
I love GPT-4. I explore like I have the paid version and it helps me with work a lot, you know?
Interesting.
And I think if because like writing the right prompts is a whole art in itself.
Just to bring this back to the viewers, do you guys use ChatGPT in any of your work or in any way professionally? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think it might be a good time to check the comments or interact with the viewers in one way or the other? I could pause this and then we could find a way to interact as we look for this. Actually, good.
Yeah, so like I was saying, with ales, with ales, what we have is let me just go back to that. So they use warm fermentation. Sorry, it's not boil; it's warm fermentation. So it results in a sweet, full-bodied, and fruity taste.
You were looking at. Did you close the tab? You're looking at if stouts are boiled.
I couldn't find any information on that,
problem,
unfortunately.
no
Yeah, but like ales are pretty old. They're even older. They predate lagers. They predate
They're almost
stouts.
as old as VSOP.
In fact, the word ale comes into English from like its ancestor language, Proto-Germanic. It's not even an English word. It comes like that. It's that old.
Yield ale.
Did you know, for example, that ale was an important source of nutrition in the medieval world?
People
It
used to
was
drink
one of the
beer for
three main.
nutrition?
No, I mean it didn't have as much alcohol content.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of the main sources of grain in the diet at the start of the 14th century, along with bread and pottage. Pottage is a special kind of soup.
Potage.
Potage, yeah, exactly. So scholars believe grains accounted for around 80% of the calorie intake of agricultural workers and 75% for soldiers back in medieval
Do you think they
times.
would feed this to children? Because if it's important nutrition.
Now listen to this. Small beer, also known as table beer or mild beer, which was highly nutritious, contained just enough alcohol to act as a preservative and provided hydration without intoxicating effects. Small beer would have been consumed daily by almost everyone, including children, in the medieval world, with higher alcohol ales served for recreational purposes.
That is quite interesting.
So ale is a pretty old thing. In fact, you would say the base kind of beer is ale, and then you get these weird specializations like stouts and lagers and IPAs, and we'll get to IPAs in a minute.
So
And
this is an ale.
Bavaria is an ale. It's a specific kind of ale known as a blonde beer,
It's a beautiful
which
ale.
puts it as a mid-strength. But this would probably never have been served to children because it's like what?
Mid-strength? It's like
8.6%. Yeah. That's why it's called an 86. Actually, it's 8.6 because if you look, there's that red dot in the middle. It's Bavaria
a piano song
8.6.
66 by Fellow T.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at the
Fellow
artistic,
Leti, actually.
Look at the artistic
The can is designed beautifully. Maybe you should take a
clouds
picture
or whatever, yeah.
and then I can like.
Oh, this is a limited edition.
Yeah, take a picture,
Shout
send
out
it
to
to me. I'm gonna put it on the Instagram stories. You know, this episode will come out way after the Instagram stories,
Let
but
me
like
post it,
listeners
let me post
may remember it.
Let me pause this. Go.
Yeah, so like we were talking and we just like I just took some time to post the video on Instagram.
Go
so,
out
you
there
know,
and comment. I mean, this is 1 week later.
yeah,
but
by the
whatever.
time people listen to this, hopefully they'll remember the
Go
Instagram
back to the
video.
past. If you know
Yeah.
how to do that, go ahead and do that. Ladies and gentlemen, look at this beautiful introducing Tyrone. Anyways, look.
So like here's another interesting thing about ale. Records from the Middle Ages show that ale was consumed in huge quantities. So in 1272, a husband and a wife who retired at Selby Abbey, some fucking place nobody cares, were given 2 gallons of ale per day.
How is the Abbey written?
What?
It might have some significance. How's the Abbey written? Is it Abbey?
Yes.
There is a type of beer known as an Abbey.
And we should probably try and look for it and drink.
It's just that today we limited it to 6.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
There was an Abbey.
Yeah, but then these guys were given 2 gallons of ale per day, along with 2 loaves of white bread and 1 loaf of brown. So like, it's like their rations. So like ale
offensive,
was
though.
like highly consumed back then.
Sounds unkind. Kunywa
Yeah.
pombe na mkate. Is that it?
Are you poor?
Offer me
Here's some
something.
alcohol with
Offer
your
me
bread.
Where's the meat?
So ale is typically fermented at temperatures between 15 degrees and 24 degrees. It's called warm, not because it's at high temperatures, but it's because as opposed to cold, which is at extremely low temperatures. So it's closer to room temperature, right? And so like they don't try to go way above 24 degrees because at those temperatures, the yeast can produce significant amounts of esters and other secondary flavor and aroma products. And the results is often a beer with slightly fruity compounds. So like it starts to taste a bit fruity at higher temperatures.
Scientific name of the chemical the alcohol, right?
Yeah, like
It's a type of
polyester is an ester. You know, like organic chemistry. If you did this and if you enjoyed organic
If you went
chemistry,
to
you know
Alliance
what an ester
Girls.
is. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Or
I
Stereo like me.
wonder. if Alliance, like, how did they turn out? Because I remember the uniforms back then used to look so geeky. Like, you wear long skirts.
Alliance Girls, like
The Alliance of Virgins.
An ex of mine went to Alliance Girls, and it's like they still produce some pretty smart girls.
Pretty smart, but are they pretty?
Yeah,
They're
I mean,
smart,
I
but they're not
thought
pretty.
she was pretty. I mean, beauty is in the eyes of the beer holder, obviously.
The
But,
beer holder, beautiful, beautiful.
But like she was
Beautiful.
pretty smart, and I think even Alliance Boy is pretty smart. Sterehe was pretty smart. I don't know about today because like they really
This is a
mismanaged
bit of
the
a
school.
catfish. You would think that you go there to have fun, but you go there to study.
You
One of the
actually
top
go there
national
to
schools.
study. Yeah, it's one of the top
They
national
had a
schools.
nasty uniform though. It was red
Shorts.
red shirts with blue shorts.
Shorts,
Who the
man.
fuck abused
We
the
used
maker
to
of that
get.
uniform?
We used to be made fun of at every freaking function. It
You
was
went to Stouts? You went to
crazy.
Stouts?
Yeah, I went.
You must have been pretty smart, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to
I
like
mean,
point this
clearly-
out. Like, if anyone can get like a newspaper from like 2007, which was the KCP I did,
You'll
I
be
was
there.
one of the top 100 students.
Did you get
Nairobi.
hosted in the air? For me,
Yeah,
that
I
was a
did.
fear, man. I didn't do KCPE.
Like
I did-
434.
I did a whole
in
different
that
system, but then
KCPE.
I had a fear, like if I ever did KCPE,
Mm-hmm.
I would get hosted in the air and then someone's finger would end up in my ass.
What? No, no.
So tell us, bro.
That is so wrong. Oh my god. Luckily, I was never hoisted, but like I was like it was a huge deal because I was in the newspapers.
Congrats, bro.
Yeah, my mom probably still has like a copy of the newspaper
I
where
mean,
like my
to be
name
fair,
was.
like even if you listen to the podcast, you realize like we're some pretty smart dudes. In as much as we make a lot of stupid.
We try, yeah.
try.
But then, like, I left that place at some point and went to the British system, which is where you also.
I
mostly
did the
schooled.
Belgian system. Actually.
You did the Belgian
but
system.
I
You
did
learned a
bit
lot of French.
I did a bit of the British system and got expelled. This is a bit of a segue into our personal lives, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But, so you can get to know us a bit.
So
we'll
I-
get
yeah.
a few glimpses.
Yeah,
Just
so
to build
I've done
intrigue.
both 844 and it used to be called the Cambridge system. So I've done the Edexcel and Cambridge.
Yeah.
So this is the IGCSE.
Oh, yeah.
And then like later on, of course, I did my A levels and so on. Like so, yeah, that's about it, as much as you guys are gonna know about me today.
We're just gonna give them glimpses, so to build the
Yeah.
intrigue.
Exactly. So we are done with ales. I think next we're going to go to something interesting
We're
called
gonna have
the
to-
Indian Pale Ale
We're gonna
or
have to down this shit.
IPA.
We're gonna have to down this shit.
So let's down this shit. We're gonna be
Da-da-da-da.
so drunk
Cheers,
by the
cheers,
time
cheers.
this episode is done.
Cheers, more beers. Fuck, look at that picture.
It's beautiful as fuck. These screensavers are beautiful.
Who the fuck went to this? What is this? Is this a cave?
No, this is like they do this thing because like this is like
It's an
moving
edit.
water. Yeah, it's
Isn't
an
it?
edit. It's
Oh,
an
it's a
edit.
long exposure kind of
It's
trick.
a long exposure kind of thing.
We know a bit about photography, by the way.
Yeah.
So they can change the way the waves or the rushing water looks based on the focal length.
So now we're doing
Or the exposure.
Sand Trap from 254 Brewing Company.
Jesus Christ,
which
I'm
is a
feeling the
Kenyan
alcohol
brewing
as well.
company, started by a white guy
We're
who
almost
came
there.
from Ireland. I know Owen. Owen came from Ireland, and he I don't know if he wants me to say this, but he founded 254. Like he had like $1 million.
Shout out to Owen.
And he started 254 right from the ground up. Right now, he owns the Beer District in Westlands. So if you're ever in Westlands near Delta Towers, go to the Beer District. You'll get to drink some of Owen's
Piss.
some of Owen's like what's it called? Sorry, a bistro.
Craft
It's like
beer.
a
Craft
bistro,
beer?
yeah, craft beer. So you get to drink his craft beer there. It's pretty good.
Okay.
Right. So let's try Sand Trap
Let's open
from
it. So
254
let's,
Brewing
ASMR,
Company.
ASMR. Let's see. I'm gonna try and do this again. Oh, the bottle, please. My good sir, please hand me the bottle.
My good sir.
The opening instrument. Are you ready for this, ladies and gentlemen? Ladies especially.
This has literally been so far a 1 hour podcast episode on alcohol.
Okay, I should probably do this way. It's gonna make that sound. Piss. Fuck. Nah, man.
Yeah, this is.
Commitment. I'm
This
gonna
is
get
alright.
there.
Let me just use my teeth.
Son of a bitch. There we
Oh,
go.
finally.
Hey, I did it.
Finally.
Bro. I did it.
I was just like, let me just use my
It was
teeth.
supposed to be ASMR and ended up with me saying son of a bitch.
Maybe that is.
That's
SMR
like
for
small
some
penis
people.
humiliation at this point. Son of a bitch.
SPH. Does
Yeah.
anyone watch SPH porn?
And why do you watch it?
Why do you watch SPH porn?
You must have a small
A small penis.
attention span. I'm trying to do the Chiki Kuruka thing because that one went
The
pretty well.
Chikuruka one. It's funny because like one of our fans was
Oh
like,
my
"You guys
goodness.
worked your way to that. What's it called? To that punchline." We're like, we did not rehearse that shit.
This is what we do,
That
bro.
was off the cuff.
I want this before it goes away. This smells beautiful. Smell it.
Oh my god! It smells. It reminds me of a certain kind of bush, like a
Yes,
certain kind of
exactly.
leaf.
It's like a rose bush.
It's like a rose bush. It's a certain kind of leaf.
Okay, but I think we're also on the mushrooms. I want someone else to smell this. Like, do you want to smell this?
No,
you can,
I
you
think
can
it
smell
genuinely does
it.
remind me of a certain kind
wonderful.
of bush.
It smells wonderful.
It smells like a kind of plant or something.
What?
Yeah, it's very like
My
plant like
goodness.
it's like a kind of fence. You know, it's like
What's-
almost like what is it? The K
Oh,
apple.
you did a great
the
name.
K apple fence.
So this is remind me
K
of-
apple. It's actually K apple. Have you ever seen the fences like live fences? They have with the small green fruits. The K apple. They call them kayafas.
Kayafa.
That's the bastardized version.
It's
But
the
if you
best.
smell
It's
the
kind of
leaves,
like the great. King
yeah,
William
exactly.
The Great.
But if you
Dagoretti.
smell the leaves, it smell almost like what we're smelling right now.
Beautiful. So this is just remind me because we have two beers from the local ones. So what we're having is what? It's called Sandtrap.
Sandtrap from 254 Brewing Company.
Beautiful beer. So this is a hoppy, juicy, luscious beer. That's the description of the company, of course.
Yeah,
that's
it's an
marketing.
IPA. Take note of the fact that it's hoppy because that's gonna factor in when I talk about IPAs in a moment.
Excessive alcohol consumption is harmful to your health. Well, here goes. We've
Mm-hmm.
consumed excessive amounts of alcohol.
And we are going to harm our health.
Fuck you, ABL. Let's go for it.
Let's get to it. So,
Harm your wife as well.
do you know that an Indian Pale Ale? What?
We have not done the review.
Oh yeah,
Let's-
I mean I've
it's a quick
tasted
one.
it.
It's a quick
I've
one. It's a
tasted
quick
it,
one.
and it does taste like K apple too.
Marvelous.
It's
this
beautiful.
This is a, but to
It's
be honest,
stronger. It's more bitter, but it's beautiful. Weirdly.
now here's the thing. My number one is still the Bavaria, with the close second being the Stout, the Guinness.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you in that. I think my new number one is Sandtrap.
Okay.
I'm loving. I don't know. I think it's the K apple because like it gives me so much nostalgia from childhood. Like I used to like
Interesting,
picking those
yeah.
fruits and like throw them at people
So there's a
randomly.
bit of bias there, but I mean,
Yeah, there's
it's
a
all
bit of
subjective at the
bias.
end of
Yeah,
the day,
exactly.
whatever.
It just gives me some weird nostalgia to my childhood.
It's quite beautiful, like smelling something nice
Mm-hmm.
and tasting something nice as well. Although it's a bit bitter, it smells nicer than it tastes. That's what I will say.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bit of a bitter lager. It's a bit of a synthetic taste to it. I'm sorry to say,
Mm-hmm.
but it has a bit of a synthetic taste to it.
I already know what name you're gonna give this episode. It's just gonna be like different types of beer. Like, let's talk about beer.
But before you tune out, there's a few other things, one or two orders of business we are
I
going
mean,
to talk about.
we'll talk about that after the beer. I'm really enjoying the beer.
I'm
moment.
enjoying it as well. This is going to be a 2-hour
'cause we've got
special.
at least like one more beer. This was a 2-hour special we should have had last time. Remember last time we never really quite hit the 2
Cheers
hours.
to this, bro. Because let me tell you guys, Ramsey is not a fan of beer. He prefers liquor. But I told him like there's actually more history to the beer and whatever. So I'm sure you're enjoying
I'm
it.
loving it. I've fallen in love with
I
beer
enjoy it
now.
as well. And it's not just because of the mushrooms, the magic mushrooms. Which are also doing quite a good job as well. Everything's more
They're
beautiful.
making things so much more interesting. Now it's weird because now that we're talking about it, I think if we're being honest, we should be a lot more drunk than we are. The mushrooms are actually starting to kick in because the alcohol is starting to get muted for me.
Yeah.
Like before, I was starting to feel the alcohol, but now I'm actually feeling it get muted. And you know, it's the same thing as LSD.
LSD is like, sit
Yeah.
down, bitch, I'm here.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking Christ, I exploded on myself.
Fucking and Christ should not be in the same sentence. But
Unless
yeah.
Mary Magdalene is involved.
I mean, don't worry about it.
it's
It's okay. We'll always overturn those pillows.
Shit.
The only thing I'm worried about is like if we go out, are you gonna go out with the same pants, or would you like me to give you like?
I think
new
I'm going to have
pants?
to get new ones. Otherwise, people will be like, you pissed.
You pissed
You're on
yourself.
the piss, my lord.
You piss peasant.
I'm Oscar
You
Pi-
beard
Call me
yourself.
Oscar Pistorius.
Oscar Pistorius.
I'll pee on your Instagram stories.
Yeah. Piss on your Instagram stories.
Exactly. Live, bitch. Just how you
Oh
like
my
it.
god, this is so much
It's
fun.
like 2 girls, 1 cup. Thanks, bro. I'm sorry. I
2
don't know
girls,
what
1
happened
cup.
there, 'cause
This would be an awesome 2 girls, 1 cup.
2 Oscars,
Episode.
1 piss. Like he won the Oscars for how great he lied in court. Oh, sorry about this.
It's so funny.
It's unfortunate, but we're gonna
So
leave
now
this in.
I'm about to talk about Indian Pale Ale. So let me know. Let me
I'm
know
ready,
when
I'm
you're
ready.
ready.
I'm ready. Check days are gone.
So IPA, because it's you always see the name.
Mommy, I've wet myself.
This is turning out to be the most fun episode we've ever had. Like, it's literally right now 1 a.m., guys. This is the latest recording we've ever had.
Usiku Sako.
It's the most fun episode. It's just so cool.
Holy shit, they know we're on drugs. Look at this rainbow. Okay, this is suggestive. We don't want
It
no
is.
LGBT
By
bullshit.
Chris McClanahan. Did you know that you can
gay.
easily tell if someone is Scottish because they have a Mick in their
McClanahan.
name? Because it means the son of Clanahan.
And then at the same time,
McClanahan.
Does the Clan? I can't see. I don't have my glasses. Does the Clanahan have a GH?
No, it's just, but it would if it were written in like Old Celtic.
Old Celtic, yeah.
Yeah, but
So
like
that's what
of
I'm
course
saying.
it's been bastardized
Very
into
obvious
English.
names. There's some names you can't tell where they're from.
Yeah, but you can also tell, for example, if a name is Irish, because if you hear like
There's
O'Leary,
some leprechaun to it.
O'Shaughnessy, O means again like
Oh.
son of. In Irish, that's the same is the same connotation.
But it's not the same for you guys. It's not the same for Odhiambo. I know Odhiambo.
Odhiambo?
I'm Luopian. I knew this was my history, boy.
For that one, it would be like like the way they say nyar something.
Nyar jadong.
I think that's for women, but I think
Nyar
like for
sembo.
men, there's also like a connotation for like son of ja something like Jaloka. Like there's a Jaloka on
Jatello.
Twitter that's really popular. And interestingly, that guy went to Sterehe, and I know exactly who he is. He has a hidden
Was he
identity, but I
interesting
know
in
exactly who
in
he
person?
is.
Was he interesting in person?
He was pretty cool in person. He was in the Fire Squad. Fire Squad was a really huge thing in
fuck is the
Sterehe.
Fire Squad?
Yeah, like they literally had like a fire squad. Like you had to do it was popular.
They put out fires.
No, but they, because Saray has like this weird like British history, because of like Sir, what was his name?
Isn't it
Griffin.
It must have been Lord,
Yeah,
Lord Griffin.
yeah, exactly. No, it wasn't a
Whatever
lord,
the
sir.
fuck, whatever.
He almost like we've had like a princess visit us. Like a British, like was it Elizabeth or
Was
something
she hot?
before she became queen?
No, she must have been 70 at that point.
No, this was like in the 50s. Sterehe is an old freaking school. And at some point, he was also supposed to marry royalty, but he refused.
This is the founder of Stereo.
Yeah, Griffins. And
Mr.
here's another
Griffin.
thing, like what we had back then. So they had a fire squad in case we have like fires at Stere. And they had like a whole truck and the waters and stuff. And like the fire
How
squad
do
was the
you get-
most elite club because like they would go through such like it was almost like the Navy SEAls.
Now
They
that's
go
my
like
question.
through like some serious physical
This
training.
leads to my question. How do you get into the fire squad at Stereo Boys?
You had to try out. They had tryouts. It was almost like buds. Have you ever seen the Navy buds where like you go and they put you like 6 days of grueling physical
it's
exercise
physical fitness,
and then they decide, yeah, exactly. Most people would fail the fire school, so the ones who joined were elitists. In a boys' school, the guys who are the fittest are obviously gonna be elitists. They're gonna be at the highest level of the hierarchy.
Sensitive, what do you mean?
Back and finally we talking about Indian Pale Ale.
I'm comfortable now. Yeah.
We turned over the cushions.
We turn the tide.
We turned the tide.
Check days are gone.
So now we're talking about India Pale Ale. Now,
We're
India
actually
Pale Ale is
halfway
pretty
through it
unique.
because that's what we were talking about already.
Yeah, no, we are actually almost done because
Oh,
after
shit, the
India
other one
Pale
was
Ale,
what?
the only thing is Belgian Triple, and then we are fucking done.
No more alcohol.
No more.
Anyways, whatever. Let's go.
So, now with IPAs, because like we talked about ales, right? With IPAs, it's pretty different. What happened with Pale Ale, right, is that back then the British East India Company, and this was like back in the in 1815, right? So this is a style of pale ale.
Just say that again. Jeff,
British
check
East
what
India
that
Company.
is called now. The British East India Company. I'm sure it's still in existence.
Probably not. So like what happened is I mean it might be under very different.
British East
Like I've heard
India
so many of these stories about like how Unilever used to be. I
Unilever
don't
used to
know,
be
like,
the British India
something.
Company. Something
Yeah,
like that. India had a lot of history.
I've heard a lot of these stories, But like
Sorry, keep going.
the British East India Company, like back then before Britain went all out colonizing countries, they would have like and this was like at right at the beginning of like the idea of incorporation and having like public limited companies, right? So people pool resources, they start a company, and then like these companies go out and try to join the East India Company.
They ceased operations in 1874. That was a
Exactly.
while ago.
Yeah.
My mom wasn't even born. Clearly.
Yeah. So so the British East India Company was it was supposed to go to get like spices from India, bring them over because like it was really lucrative trade at the time.
India was a big spice
And it was a
spice
big
capital.
thing. So like it was actually for the longest time India was ruled by the British East India Company before the British government itself decided to colonize India. That's a little fact that most people
India
don't
must
know.
have been a world power back
For a
then.
while, India was ruled by an actual company before it was ruled
Wait.
by an actual government,
India was ruled by a
by
company.
the British East India Company.
It was ruled by like politically.
Exactly. There's something they don't know about. That's something most people don't know. And in fact, something else most people don't know is that a lot of like high-ranking Indian officials today, politicians, because what happened was when the Brits landed in India, they intermarried with the local Indians, right? And so the ruling classes in India today probably have a lot more British blood, Aryan white blood, than they would like to admit.
I made this
Which is
argument.
why in India there's this weird like association of complexion to like superiority. Like if you're a
Caste,
darker
taste.
skinned Indian, you know, people look down on you. Lighter skinned Indians, people like think like they're generally higher in society. There's the same thing going on in Africa for
But
different reasons.
I made this argument
But
the other
yeah.
on a previous episode where like none of us are probably pure anything right now because of all the intermarriage that happened over the centuries and millennia.
Like for example, one of the things people like to point out is how Kikuyus have so many light skins. What people don't know is that there are a lot of Kikuyus with like some Indian and British blood in
There
them.
you go.
And that is why there are so many light skins. A lot of the
That's why they
Brits
like money as
settled
well,
in the
'cause
Kikuyu
Indians like money as well.
highlands. A lot of the British colonizers and settlers settled in the British highlands, and there was a lot of intermarriage there. There wasn't as much settling by the settlers in, say, Luoland or Luyaland, which is why, for example, Luos and Luyas are darker. It's not that they're darker because there's something wrong with them. It's that they're more authentically African than a lot of the Kikuyus in the Kikuyu highlands. This is
Luos
something people don't talk
from
about.
the Nile, actually, they're Nilos, right?
Exactly. So you know, like this is something people don't talk about. But getting back on point.
Let's get back to
so like
on a horse.
sailors, in you know, on the ships going out to India would carry pale ale with them. But because pale ale is gonna go bad quickly, they would add hops. You know,
to add
to
the
as a preservative.
preservative.
And because they had like a lot of hops in it, they realized that they created a totally new class of beer or a totally new class of ale. And because it was associated with going to India, it was called Indian Pale Ale.
Okay.
Right, exactly.
The Indian pale we're having is this still the what the fuck was it called again?
This is
Sandtrap?
No.
was
Yeah,
it-
it's Sandtrap. Sorry, it's Sandtrap. This is the
IPA.
IPA.
Okay, cool.
Exactly. So it says hoppy. If
it's
you
quite
look at the wording there, it's hoppy, juicy, luscious. It's because it has hops
I don't
added
taste
to
the
it.
juiciness to it, to be honest.
I also do not. But
But
like,
it smells
get-
quite nice.
I
will
love the
give
smell.
It that. I will love it.
And
I will
maybe
give it
that smell is because hops actually smell like that. You know, like the K-apple smell is probably the hops in it. So like, remember like pale ales before IPA were lightly hopped. They didn't have as many hops, and they were quite different from today's
because
pale
hops are a
ales.
good preservative, but they had a lot of bitterness to them.
Right, exactly. And they were mostly brewed with like malt that's been coke filled, not coke as in cocaine, but like a special kind of fuel,
Unfortunately.
a special kind of fuel called coke that derived from coal. And this is a whole other story. Actually, the idea is that coke is a gray, hard, and porous coal-based fuel with a high carbon content and very few impurities. So people don't also know that.
I mean, just a light note, like Coke. is
Yeah,
actually
it's
fuel.
made by heating coal or oil in the absence of air. Many Kenyans wouldn't know about coal because it's a special kind of fuel. We don't have any coal locally. We do have charcoal.
Charcoal.
Which is made from like
Burned
burning wood in the absence of air.
Very easy to
But
get,
coal is actually naturally produced.
Mined in the ground.
It's mined in the ground, exactly.
Diamonds come from coal, actually.
Diamonds come from coal.
They do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that. Because I know diamonds are made from like high pressure in the ground, like you know, it's carbon that's been compressed so hard by the high pressures in the ground.
Diamonds do come from coal, actually.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. So like we have that, and basically IPA was all about like adding more hops into pale ale. There's something here that I have to mention. So like one particular variety of IPA was known as October beer.
Interesting.
And
Is
this
this
is
the
a-
origin of Oktoberfest?
I would love to know it, but like old ale, so like October beer was a pale, well-hopped brew, and the reason why it's popular is because it was very popular among the landed gentry, and people might not know who the landed gentry are. The landed gentry are like it's a largely historical British social class of landowners. That's why they're called landed, and gentry because they're gentlemen. Because gentlemen used to mean a very different thing back then. It was like a whole
Konyagi
thing.
was a gentry.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So they would live almost entirely from rental income, or like they at least had a country estate. So the landed gentry were like loved October beer, and this is a special kind of IPA. I don't know if anyone makes October beer today.
No, and it smells so exquisite. It has
Yeah.
to appeal to those higher classes.
Yeah, exactly. So one thing that makes October beer so distinct is that it was intended to stay in the cellar for at least 2 years. Like you can also age beer.
Yeah.
You can age beer the same way you can age other liquors, right? So yeah, so that is IPA. I don't know if there are any other interesting facts about it. One interesting thing is like with IPA, there's like vocabulary around the amount of hops put in, and also something called the session. So like the session, the session of an IPA is the amount of alcohol content, right? So less alcohol, which may or may not be a good thing depending on your lifestyle. So modern session IPAs, yeah. Modern session IPAs usually fall below 5% alcohol by volume.
This is
not a modern session IPA. This is 7%, right? So with lower alcohol will come a thinner body. So there are types of beers like you can drink a modern session IPA on repeat.
It's not a modern session, but it's quite light, I would say.
What we are having here is actually a double / imperial IPA.
It's quite regal.
So a double and imperial IPA is essentially the same thing as a modern session, but with higher content. So an IPA with a higher hop concentration. So to balance all that hop flavor, the brewers use more malt, which results in a higher alcohol by volume, usually over 7%. So it's an IPA on steroids.
We can cut this out, but I believe those are called lovebirds, or no, those are just parrots.
Those are just parrots,
right,
but they're definitely in love.
We'll
yeah, and you know, in the stoic words of Dave Chappelle, this shit'll get you drunk. We are having a double imperial IPA right now, right?
It's regal.
Another thing, another kind of vocabulary here a lot with IPAs is dry hopping. So like dry hopping is the process of steeping hops in fermenting beer. Instead of adding them while the liquid is boiling, you add them while the liquid is fermenting. So you can have dry hopped IPA, or you can have like IPA where the hops were added while the thing was boiling, right? So the idea behind dry hopping is that it creates a very strong aroma, amplifying the notes of the hops. And I think we actually have dry hopped IPA right now because of the very strong aroma.
It does have a strong
aroma. Suspect it's dry hopped, right?
Right, so we have something... No, what the hell is this? It's not dry humping, it's dry hopping.
What is dry humping? No, we're not talking about dry humping. Why did you search for dry humping?
Our audience is on a myriad
Our audience
of drugs.
member is probably even higher than we are.
Talking about dry humping beer.
Yeah.
Which is an activity we'll not be doing on ThinkShack.
So that is...
reserve that for...
So that is IPA, and then finally we will go to Belgian triple. So
let's do it.
Bottoms up.
I'm done with mine. I spilled most of my shit, unfortunately.
And now we're having Muratatu, which is probably the highest alcohol by volume we're having right now. It's 10.4%. And the reason why it's called Muratatu is because it was supposed to be Maratatu, the strength of normal beer, but it was misspelled as Muratatu.
And I think it's also, what is it called? An ode to Muratina?
Maybe.
The way it's written is M-U-R.
Yeah.
It's calling me at this point. Let me just interrupt this for a second.
Yeah, just pause.
I don't know who the hell this is.
Sorry about that. So we're back and we are doing an ASMR moment. We're gonna open Muratatu.
Oh shit, let me actually open it because I'm the one who...
The Belgian trip... I mean, I don't like the way they spelled it because this is wrong. It's not a trippy L.
Yeah.
The way they spell it, it's a triple.
Sorry.
It doesn't have the I after the P.
So they got it wrong.
Actually, they got it right on the main sticker. It's Belgian triple, but on the back where they like explain it, like brewing Kikuyu, it's written as trippy L. So like whoever printed these stickers got it wrong.
I have a thing though. To be honest, I looked up. I was researching, and I think it's not supposed to be a triple. I think it's actually supposed to be a trippy.
No, it's not a trippy L. It's a triple. It's a triple.
Where is it?
It's written as trippy L. That is wrong.
This is a hilarious typo.
Yeah, it's a typo.
This is one of Owen's beer.
This is Owen's.
Let him know.
I'll text Owen.
Like,
let him
bro, you slacked on this one. Here goes, guys. Get your panties wet.
This one, I hope it works.
Fuck, come on. I'm not gonna say son of a bitch again. All right, help me out, Jeff.
Son of a gun, son of a gun, son of a gun. You thought I was gonna say son of a bitch.
But that doesn't have the satisfaction, though.
Remember Porky Pig from like the Looney Tunes?
Yeah, Porky Pig was like, son of a gun.
He thought I was gonna say son of a bitch.
He thought I was gonna say son of a bitch, didn't you?
Yeah.
Let's pull this out. I think there's also the ASMR to listen.
The foaming noise is actually pretty cool.
I don't know if it'll capture that. No,
yeah, but it may capture while I'm pouring it. So I'm gonna pour it for you. There. Okay.
R. Kelly fans. You remember that sound? You remember that sound?
That's the
trauma.
R. Kelly, take your piss!
He's taking the piss. All right, let's smell it.
While singing gospel. Because R. Kelly, for a while, he sang gospel.
The storm is over!
Like, what the fuck?
I'm gonna pee on your daughter now.
I believe I can fly. You remember that?
I believe I can touch the sky.
Imagine saying that shit and then going to
I
piss
don't
on
care.
16-year-old girls.
To be honest,
Like,
I don't
what
care.
the fuck?
You know, the thing is, you have to separate the artist from the whatever. But I don't care because he makes beautiful music. That guy,
does.
you cannot argue he makes beautiful music. He's very soulful,
He really does.
which is unfortunate. You want to hate him, but you can't. All right, let's do the smell test. Cheers. Cheers, my brother.
It smells like piss.
It smells like piss. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna sugarcoat it. This smells like piss.
It smells like piss.
Pure pistorius.
It smells weirdly like piss.
Now this is pure
Oscar
urine.
piss
There's
story.
nothing good about it. It smells like piss.
Belgian
The smell
triple smells like piss. Does it taste like piss
is the
too?
smell of 3 men pissing.
This is not gonna
It's
be
a
our
triple piss.
favorite one.
No, but you know the other one smelled good, but it tasted bad.
It smelled good, but it tasted bad. So let's try this one.
It's horrible. It smells horrible.
It tastes horrible too.
The bluntness of it does it.
I just tasted it, but I
But
like
let's
it.
try and be
Weirdly, every time I go to Owen's Brewery, I love to drink Muratatu simply because it's not. I don't like the taste. I don't like the smell, but I love how drunk it gets me.
It really tastes bad.
I love how drunk it gets me.
It really tastes bad, and not in a bitter taste. It's not about being a connoisseur because I've had
Genuinely, with no pretense.
no pretense. I've had what is this thing? Faxe. Faxe is a bitter beer, and I
Faxe,
appreciate.
yeah,
I can appreciate
exactly.
it.
It's Belgian too, by the way.
This one,
Yeah.
not really. No, it just tastes bad. To be honest, man. I'm sorry, Owen, but
But I love the beer. Weirdly, every time I'm drinking Owen's beers, I always go for Muratatu simply because I love how drunk it gets me. It's so effective.
it's quite strong. It's 10%.
It's 10.4%. It's so effective. You know?
Jesus Christ, what the fuck? It tastes like piss. I
Right.
wouldn't know what that tastes like though, but whatever. But
So, just to give you some facts, triple or Belgian triple is a term used to refer to a strong pale ale.
look at it, it's gone.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's a strong pale ale, and the origin of the term is unknown, though the main theory is that it indicates the strength in some way, because like, it's supposed to be triple strength, maybe? I don't know. But like, here's the thing, right? It's one of the strongest beers in their range, in the range, because like, it's supposed to be 10.4%. Right, so the
Yeah.
term triple comes from like they're called the Low Countries, but not in terms of like
It's not a derogatory term.
it's not a derogatory term. The Low Countries in Europe, also known as the
It's
Lowlands,
like the Midlands.
these are
Highlands,
historically
Lowlands.
the Netherlands, Flanders, Belgium. You know, like
No, this is not imported. The one we had, the Bavaria, was imported from Holland, actually.
yeah, exactly.
Oh man, we forgot to mention the origin of some of these beers. But we did for Desperado. It was
Bavaria
France.
is from Holland.
Bavaria is from
Desperados is
Holland.
France. Tusker is Kenya, obviously. Guinness is from Ireland.
Muratatu is from Kenya.
Muratatu is from Kenya, and Santrap is from Kenya.
But they have the Owen is from which country?
Owen is Irish.
There's a bit of heritage there to it. So
Yeah.
we mentioned it. I misspoke.
Yeah, if you guys are ever in Westlands, by the way, at Delta Jazz, go to the beer district. You'll probably meet Owen there. Drink his craft beer. You might like Muratatu a lot more than
You
me.
owe him one.
We owe Owen one.
We owe
Yeah.
Owen, yeah.
It's interesting because do you know how his name is written?
It tastes
It's not
horrible.
Owen.
Owen.
It's Eoin. It's Celtic. Owen. Eoin. Owen. That's how you write Owen in Celtic.
Okay, cool. I got it.
You know?
Owen,
You
yeah.
you get it. Yeah, exactly.
Isn't it pronounced differently though?
No, it's pronounced Owen.
Okay, cool.
If you were to say it like the way it's written is Eoin or something.
To go back to what you said, as much as it tastes horrible, I keep drinking it. It's a
I
weird.
told you it's a weird
It's
kind
a
of
weird-
abusive relationship.
Have a
I
fan-
love Muratatu. It's like I'm in an abuse. I love every
It's-
time I'm drinking 254 Brewing, it's always Muratatu.
Drinking Muratatu is like
It
trauma
tastes-
bonding.
Yeah, exactly. It's trauma bonding. I don't like the
It's
taste,
bad,
but
eh?
I find myself drinking Muratatu
It's really
every
bad.
freaking time. You know? Anyway, going back to what
Makes you
Belgian
wanna
triple
curse
is. So,
Muratatu.
yeah, the term triple came from the Low Countries, so that's Netherlands and Belgium. And we know like Belgian triple is because there's also Dutch triple, but like we're particularly drinking Belgian triple right now. So the origin of the term is unknown, but the two main theories are that it indicates strength either by the series of marks such as crosses on a cask. So X would be the weakest strength,
Hilarious how
XX
bad
would be
this
medium strength, and XXX, which would be the triple, is the strongest beer, right? Yeah, so it would be reference to like,
XXX.
yeah, exactly, right? So like the weakest would be 3% alcohol by volume, the medium would be 6%, the strongest would be 9% or above.
So this is the triple X.
This is the triple because we are having
Belgian
like
triple X.
10.4%. Yeah, exactly.
It's hilarious how bad it tastes, honestly.
Exactly, and there's like a little more about it. So like a triple is a Belgian style of beer, though you can have Dutch triple as well. But usually clocking in at a very high alcohol content for beer. You'll find triples in the 8 to 10% ABV range, and for reference, wine is generally 12% ABV. So like for a beer, triple is very very strong, right? And it tends to be weird, like in terms of taste. Like what are you looking
Sandtrap
at?
is bright hops. This is the one Muratatu.
No, we're looking at
Muratatu is a
Muratatu.
golden Belgian triple with fruity and honey. Like, okay, let me try and taste the honey.
And it's
I do taste the
strong.
honey.
Yeah,
The
because I
aftertaste of
also
honey.
I also don't like the smell of honey, and I can smell it. Yeah, I know the smell of honey.
The aftertaste of honey. Honey has a bitter aftertaste. Nobody ever notices because it's quite sweet. The
Honey,
opening note
honey
is
has
sweet.
like one thing. I don't know if anyone else would agree with me, but I find honey's smell nauseating.
Exactly. There's a French word for it, ameritume, which is like a bitterness to it. Like
Yeah, exactly.
the opening note is sweet, but the last note, it's quite
Yeah.
it's quite bitter.
So apparently there isn't really much to say in terms of like fun facts about Belgian triple. It's just a Belgian
bit of an offshoot,
Dutch
yeah.
kind of thing with like very high alcohol content, and it has like a weird honey aroma to it. I don't know if they use a lot of hops. I don't know. Let me just check.
Honey. See if you can taste the honey. I taste the honey, but I don't taste the fruitiness to it.
Apparently it may be based on blonde beer.
Blonde beer, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a stronger version of blonde beer. Like blonde beer was being brewed around the same time triple was becoming popular, right? But I don't know what they used to make triple. Let me just check. Oh yeah, they also use passion fruit. Honey is pretty common in triples for some
this
weird
is
reason.
one of those
Because I'm
things-
actually looking at this is a whole other brand of Belgian triple called Allagash. But like they also mentioned they put honey in their triple.
This is a bit of an esoteric again.
No, but at least it's not your clothes this time.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. But anyways, it's a bit of an esoteric. It grows on you.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't have so much hops, or so much in terms of
I'm
hops.
beginning to like it.
But it has a lot of like fruity aromas to it and honey.
I like the aftertaste.
That's what defines it.
I like the aftertaste more than the taste itself. It's growing on me. It's quite nice. I mean,
The aftertaste is pretty good.
you guys are watching the transformation, like the whole spiritual experience.
I
Like,
think for
at
some
first
beers,
disliked
I
it.
think for some beers, the appeal is more in the aftertaste than the actual taste. And I think triple is.
But that's a bit rare. But Belgian triple, I guess it gives you that.
Because like I've always associated the appeal of aftertaste to like strong like spirits, like whiskeys and just like when you drink them, they're bitter, but you love the aftertaste.
The only thing you can taste, like the only time you can actually discern the taste of spirits, like you can distinguish between,
Is
like,
in the
it's
aftertaste.
You're right.
So, but this is a weird kind of beer because like the taste is in the aftertaste for
Quite
Belgian.
interesting. I like the aftertaste.
Yeah.
I take back what I said. It's quite interesting. So, pale, somewhat spicy, dry, strong, Trappist ale. Trappist, that's the word. It's supposed to be trappier, with a pleasant, rounded malt flavor, firm bitterness. I don't know about
What
the
does
rounded.
Trappist mean? Let's just look.
There's the Belgian one. I saw it was either triple or Trappist when I was doing my initial research. Bear in mind you're far away from the microphone.
So did you know that Trappist refers to an order of monks
Oh yeah, exactly. Yes, I saw that in my initial research.
founded in 1664, and it makes sense because like blonde beer used to be brewed by monks, and Belgian triple
Were they
is a
blonde?
stronger kind of blonde beer. I don't know why it was called blonde beer. I don't know if they were blonde, but like it's actually funny because like Belgian triple is actually like a stronger version of blonde beer. So it may have origins in like monks brewing beer.
Yeah.
Belgian
Which
monks.
sounds a bit wrong because monks are supposed to be purists, right?
Yeah.
there's a bit of
like
a-
getting drunk and
getting
shit.
drunk,
So that's something interesting.
Maybe
to
that's why
dig
they
in.
made it taste bad so you can remind them of their
You're not supposed to be drinking this, you know?
Reminds them but this thing grows on you. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, it does.
It's a bit of an esoteric taste. Like you have to have a what is the word? It's an acquired taste.
Right.
After a while.
You know,
enough.
weirdly,
You start off hating, like you finish the bottle with an appreciation for it.
yeah. Weirdly, I feel like I don't want to corrupt this episode. It's not just that we might be tired, but I also don't feel like I don't want to corrupt this episode by talking about anything not related to beer.
Yeah.
I think we should close it out on the beer.
All right, what do we call this episode? The BeerShack?
The BeerShack.
Anyways.
We just talked about beers.
I hope everyone will
The
enjoy
beer
this.
holders. We
Yeah,
are
the
the beer
beholders. The
holders.
beholders, yeah.
And beauty is in the eyes of the
Beauty
beer
is in the
holders.
beholder. I think we can put that as,
Yeah.
as a title. I hope you guys enjoyed this. It was quite informative. This is probably our most informative episode.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it as much
Funny
as
enough,
we did.
we're not drunk. This might be the effect of
The magic mushrooms
magic
kicking in.
mushrooms,
How
yeah.
many minutes has this been? Let's look into it.
I've paused it a couple of times, so this has been 1 hour 32
1 hour
minutes.
32 minutes. That's
That's
perfect.
pretty
Let's
decent.
leave it at that.
All right, this has been
Because
Jean.
like the next topic, I mean, the Super Metro thing, we can talk about that in another episode.
This is Super Metro. There's the guy who sued himself. I don't want to corrupt it as well, as you
Yeah.
said. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This has been Jean.
This has been Ramsey.
And this is ThinkShack, exploring memes to the extremes. Catch you on the next one. Stay blessed. And yeah.
See you later,
See you
alligators.
later. Alligator. All right, whatever.